Huzzah, and welcome, future and current artists, to another episode of Drawing with Dr. Doodle. Well, before we begin, you're only going to need two items. Hopefully you have these, a piece of paper and a pencil. Now, if you want to color your work in when we're done and you have a crayon or a colored pencil or markers, you can color it in when we finish today. However, if you don't have those supplies right now, you can always wait to color your work in when you get those supplies. So you know what? Let's begin. Hello, and welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit challenging. What I want you to do is find a picture of yourself or of a family member or friends, and then I want you to go online, and if you have permission to, I want you to look up different costumes or suits of armor, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be combining the two of them. In the artwork that you're seeing here, or will be seeing here, because this is just a sketch that I didn't really like that I got rid of, but I'm showing this to you because I want you to know that sometimes I don't like what I'm doing and I just erase the whole thing or crumple it up and throw it away. But anyway, what you will be seeing, what you saw before this picture, this rough draft that I do not like, was I had a picture of a friend of mine who had a fake sword, and then I found a picture of a suit of armor, and I'm going to combine the two. I'm going to draw my friend holding the fake sword, and then I'm going to add the armor to him and make it look like a real sword, so that way I will create a knight in the same pose as my friend. And yeah, it's something fun to do. It can be a game. It could just be a way to motivate you or for you to combine the real with the imaginary. So again, as you can see, I put a lot of work into this sketch. Excuse me, and I don't know what I was thinking. I think I started with just a doodle and I was just like, okay, what could this be? And I did not like it one bit. And again, it's okay if you don't like what you're making to just get rid of it. And that's what I did. So I got rid of that, and then I was just doodling, and that's when I just said, you know what? That's it. I need to work from something from real life. And I had just met up with my friend, and he showed me this fake sword that he had gotten, and he posed with it, and there you go. It was just, I felt like this could be something. And also, I wasn't motivated to do anything else. So when you're drawing from reality or from a photo, and especially of a person, you want to break it down into shapes, into different shapes and different lines. Take your time, because drawing another person is one of the hardest things to try to draw, especially if it doesn't come naturally to you. So as you can see here, I'm breaking down the different parts of my friend. I laid it out in a rough draft, and that's the blade and the hilt of the sword. And now I'm starting to add the highlights where the light is hitting him on his right side, or on his left side, but the right side that's facing us. So stage right, I want to say, is what it's called. Anyway, the gleam is on his glasses, the gleam is on his head, the gleam is on the part of the blade of the sword, and the gleam from the light is also on part of his shirt. And then wherever the light is hitting on the other side, on the opposite side, that's where the shadows are. So that's what you're going to want to do, is create highlights and shadows. And if you want, you could just leave it black and white. Or if you want to, you can add color to your picture. So now what I'm doing here is I'm treating this, because it's on my iPad, I'm treating it like a digital painting, and I'm not outlining all the lines. I'm not tracing or inking in all the lines. I'm building it up by using highlights, shadows, and middle tones, and making sure that I just build it up almost like a sculpture, but just using color as digital paint. So once I've finished adding in all of the shadows and the highlights and the colors, that's when I'm going to pull up the picture that I found online of a very detailed helmet that I really like, and I'll place that helmet digitally. I'll draw and paint a helmet onto my friend, and then it will look like it's a knight that is holding a sword and not my friend. And that's what I want you to do. Find a picture of yourself or a family member or friend and have them make sure it's in a pose that you're interested in, and then find a picture of some clothing from another culture or society, or maybe a knight's armor that you might want to put on them, and do that. Have fun. That's what you can do as an artist. You can reshape and recreate reality to however you would like it to be. So now I'm just playing around with the light and the shadows and the colors. And when I am ready, that's when I will start working on the helmet itself. And that's what you can see here. I'm taking my time. I'm building up all of the colors, all of the shapes. I didn't get fully into this. This was more practice for me. It wasn't a project that I put too much time into, like some of the other lessons that I've shared with you, but it was something that I wanted to try my hand at, and I had some fun doing it. And I hope that you're having fun working on your work. If you need to, you can stop this at any point if you're trying to follow along and copy, but I would hope that you aren't trying to copy and make your own work. So I believe what actually happened was I was working on this and I got to a certain point and I didn't want to, I wasn't motivated enough. I wasn't enjoying it enough to want to like make it super realistic. And that's why I came up with the idea of putting the helmet, finding the helmet and putting it on my friend here. But as you can see, I'm doing some tiny details of highlights in the hair, and yeah, that by adding those tiny details, it makes it look that much more realistic. The same thing with these shadows in the creases and the folds of the shirt. So what you'll want to do is take your time when you're doing these details and trying to copy the picture as much as you can. Because the more you do, the more realistic it looks. It really did turn out really nice, even though it's not as detailed or as like full. It's not hyper realistic is really what it comes down to. So that's the other thing. By coming back to a project that you did, an artwork that you made, you might enjoy it more or you might enjoy it less, depending on how you feel about the work. Yeah, I really think that this is a lot better than I thought it was. So now I'm working on a background, but I didn't want it to be in the kitchen where he sat. I wanted to change it, and now that's why I'm blocking off the face. And I think that's soon I'll be working on the helmet. Let's see if that's correct. There we go. So that's the helmet. I thought it was simple, but also had enough detail to it to be interesting. And yeah, so because it's digital, I'm able to work on another separate layer. So what you might want to do is, if you're not painting on top of a piece of paper or using markers, you might not want to draw directly or try to color directly onto the original drawing that you did. You might want to trace on a separate piece of paper the picture that you made of your friend or family member or yourself, and then on that traced drawing, the helmet or armor or whatever clothing that you want to add to, you know, the person that you've been drawing. So here I'm doing the same thing. I'm digitally painting. I'm adding the highlights, the flat colors, the highlights, and then the shadows. And but what I'm trying to do is I'm doing the opposite lighting as the helmet lighting, because the helmet is getting lit from the left side. My friend is getting lit from the right side. So to keep with the same lighting as my friend and that I had painted digitally painted the picture of him below, I had to change the light source to being from the right side. So that it does involve having some artistic talent and technique and just practicing. So that's the practice that I want you to have, is if your object that you're adding to your picture of the person that you're making, if the light source is different, you need to make sure that it matches to the light source that you created with. So if you're, let's say you're drawing yourself and you're putting yourself into a full suit of armor, and the armor is lit from the right but you're being lit from the left, change it in your head and on the picture so that way the suit of armor is lit from your left, the same light source direction of the light source from that's on your picture. So I can't wait to see what you've created, and I hope that you enjoyed working on this kind of project. Maybe you were more motivated than I was, and I can't wait to see what you've created. As an artist, it's a good idea to take a break from your work. Taking a break allows us to look at our work with fresh eyes and possibly with some new ideas. So that's why we're going to take a puzzle break. And what type of puzzles are we going to do on Drawing with Dr. Doodle? Well, we're going to tackle puzzles that I love to do. They're called rebus puzzles. Rebus is spelled R-E-B-U-S. And what is a rebus puzzle? Well, I'm glad you asked. Behind me is an example of just one, and we're going to walk through the solution to this puzzle right now. So what word do you see behind me? Well, take your time. If you guessed the word behind me is hurry, then you're half right. What direction is the word hurry going in? Well, take some more time to solve that. Well, if you guessed that the word hurry is going up, then you have half of the solution as well. So let's combine the two half answers or half solutions that we solved together. Hurry, so we've got the word hurry, and the word hurry is going up. And if you heard me just say that and it clicked in your head that the answer is hurry up, then you have solved this rebus. So with that out of the way, why don't you try to solve this puzzle by yourself, but you don't need to hurry up to solve this puzzle. Take your time, and if you get your parents' permission, you can email the solution to thedoodledoctor@gmail.com. Now let's get back to the lesson. Now it's time for me, Harold, the extremely talented art critic, to critique your artwork. Wait, what? Don't worry, I didn't agree to this. I won't be too harsh. Why, thank you. What? Okay, wait. Fellow art detectives, let's get critiquing. What do you see? What do you think is happening in this artwork? What materials do you think the artist used to make this artwork? Does this remind you of anything? What questions do you have about the artwork? Pretend you can enter into the artwork. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you hear? What piece of the artwork is your favorite, and why? If you could change one thing about this artwork, what would you change? How does this artwork make you feel? Can you explain why? If you had to describe this artwork to a friend, what kind of words would you use? So, Dr. D, was that so hard now? It wasn't hard at all, Harold. Thank you. Is how hard I will critique him next time. Until next time, future and current artists, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed creating art with me, and that I've inspired you to create as imaginative artwork in the future. If you'd like to have your work displayed on a future episode, obviously you need your parents' permission, but once you get it, you can email your artwork at thedoodledoctor@gmail.com. Well, bye!